My name is Bajis Katwan. I am 58 years old, almost 58 years old, and I do real estate, commercial real estate. Oh, my father! My God, you're gonna make me. My father, my father's the greatest man. I've always wanted to be like my dad and how to be able to raise my kids. And my dad was a man of steel. He was used to be haddad. So his hands were thick hands, and I always wanted to know how he got his trait from being able to talk to us with just his eyes only. It's amazing in how he can communicate with only his eyes. You know, he raised four wonderful kids. He was a man that only said things when he needed to, and he was serious about it. And he didn't really have a conversation just to really and not have anything to say. So whatever he said, it was serious. So he was to me. I was very sad to see him go Allah yarhamah. And I used to have breakfast with him, 4 or 5 times a week, and it was really just a great guy, just a really good guy. My dad decided to go ahead and bring his wife and kids to the United States in 1970-71. He was the last one of his brothers and sisters to leave to the United States. The reason for that is because he wanted to go ahead and make sure that his kids had an education. What I mean by education is that he wanted to make sure that there was no interruption with schools. He wanted to make sure that we had an education, and we finished schools. And so what we did is we came to the United States in 1971. He came here with like $6,000 in his pocket, bought a home, bought a business, and from Palestine to Palo Alto. How wonderful could that be? It's amazing, and for that I'm very grateful, because he brought us to the one of the greatest places to live in the United States, Silicon Valley. Who would know at that time that you would live in Silicon Valley? So, we all went to schools. He gave us the best schools. They raised us, giving us the best of everything, and it was just a good man. He worked very hard to provide for us, and I don't blame him. I look back now and I think he wasn't involved with us as far as all the activities that we did. So that was one thing that he taught me. And so when I got a business, when I had restaurants and I had a business, I wanted to make sure that I was there for all of my kids' activities. So that's one thing he taught me. I know that he had to, raise us and make sure that we were fed and went to school and had clothes. And also along with my mom. My mom was the one who had that heavy hand, but my dad was the one who went out and made the money for us. So I'll tell you something funny as a kid. What we did next to our house in Ramallah, okay, was a big area where they had planted some wheat to grow. And when we were little kids, we used to play filhara in the playground and stuff. But this gentleman, his name was Mr. Rukab, had a big area where they planted wheat, and they took it, they harvested all, and they put it right next to our house. Well, when they put it next to our house, next thing they're going to do is they're going to bring the donkeys and stuff to walk all over it to get the wheat from it. My brother and I, we got on top of it and we lit it. We lit the whole thing on fire. My brother didn't jump off of it fast enough. He had a burn on his back of his leg. Afterwards, we went and hid underneath the beds. We hid underneath the beds like we didn't do anything. So I lived there until I was 9 years old, almost 10. And that was in 1971. We left Ramallah, came to Palo Alto, and I didn't go back for 40 years. For 40 years. The first time I went back was 2010 with the Federation. So about 39 years. I went by myself with the Federation, I took the airplane. I got on the bus. When I got on the bus in the Federation, I put my backpack on and we went to the Ramallah. When I got off the bus, I went and walked Ramallah. I remembered everything about Ramallah. I literally cried walking up in the old streets of Ramallah where Darna is, and the old Miss. I can't. I won't say Misbaha, but it's not Misbaha. The old where people used to shop. Uh, Hisbeh. I said Misbaha. Sorry about that. The Hisbeh. I was literally crying my eyes thinking, oh my God, I have not been nadamit in that I didn't come here. So I went and Ligdere and I walked where my grandmother's old house is, my city M Abuy u city M Emmy. And then I went to my old school where I went to school. I remembered everything. I went to the Almanara, the الدوار الساعة على النعوم بعدين نزلت النزلة, and it was unbelievable. I fell in love with it so much that it was absolutely incredible. It was the most incredible trip that I've ever done. And from that point on, my relationship with Ramallah is that I go every year, once or twice a year, and I provide Ramallah with medical equipment for all the hospitals of Ramallah, Nablus, Hebron, and all the surrounding areas with different tools for them to be able to utilize in the hospitals for specialized medicine. I've also answered an ad about doctors going to Ramallah. So what I did is I ended up teaming up with a bunch of doctors that we go twice a year to Ramallah and other cities where we go and help them out, mostly on education. Education, we teach them about how to be able to do specialized surgeries. And now you can see a good footprint of all the things that the doctors taught, our doctors in the United States taught the other doctors. And the biggest thing that I'm working on right now is the telemedicine project that we are going to put about 130 computers all over Palestine in remote areas, so people could be able to get in touch with a doctor at any time in order for them to be able to get help so that they don't have to always go into Ramallah Hospital or Nablus or Khalil. They'll be able to take pictures of their problem, take pictures of the skin or their symptoms, or answer questions and send it, and that will go to an appropriate doctor to be able to help them out. So to me, that is, out of all the things that I've done, all the accomplishments, being married, having kids, getting educated, and my work, this is probably the most gratifying thing that I've ever done is the medical mission, and I am just absolutely in love with it. Time had stood still. One of my first times in a taxi cab, okay? All of a sudden, this gentleman says, "أنت مش من رام من وين?" قلت له أنا من أهل رام الله بس صار لي زمان ما جيتش هون. I didn't come here for a long time. He said to me, "What is your name?" I said to him, "Bajis Katwan." He said, "Bajis Katwan? أنت ابن موسى Katwan?" I said, "أنا ابن موسى." I said, "ليش? Why?" He said to me that I used to work in your dad's Mehdada shop to sweep it when I was a kid growing up. So time stands still. Everywhere I went in Ramallah, people got to know me. Into Ibn Musa, Ibn Musa, Ibn Musa. Like nothing after 40 years, like it just continued. Amazing. It was absolutely amazing. The people of Ramallah are amazing. Everything about Ramallah is amazing. I have met more people in the last 8-9 years since I've been doing this than I think I've ever met in my whole life. Even though I owned a restaurant, for 38 years and I just retired from it, the people that I met in Ramallah and other cities has been even more satisfying, and all the great friends that I've made. But these people have the same culture that I do because I lived in an area that was very unique and didn't have many Arab. So I wasn't really exposed to a lot of Arab. But going back to Ramallah, it was like the most heartfelt, heartwarming thing that I've done, and I'm so glad that I took that initial trip. I'm so glad for the federation has exposed us to that, and really just gave me the opportunity to do this. And they do believe in the projects and the things that we do, and I'm just very grateful. I can't be more grateful than that. You know.